Morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Do you have a tissue so we can wipe
Ain't
the
it
lens?
great to stay up late? Good morning. Good morning to you and you and you.
How are you doing that?
Good morning. Good morning. We danced the whole night through. Good morning. Good morning to you, Ellery Jones and Esteth Coleman and Sue Wood and Janet Sharp and
think I'd like to do it
Louisa
differently.
Hackett and Carol Smell.
Let's read it.
And Dawn Claricoats.
We're going to read the register.
Okay.
When we call your name, we'd like you to say yes. I have got
you have
eczema
to say
before
here.
anyone says.
You have to type here. Off you go.
Emma Staple.
Here.
Tina Davis.
To right here.
Andrea Crash.
What about me?
Is Andrea Crash here? Does anyone know where Andrea Crash is? You saw her in the playground. Why isn't she in class? Ellen Jones.
Oh, I saw her in the bog, sir.
The Bogs isn't tutorial, is it? Cadder Girl.
Cadder girl,
Here.
cadder girl, cadder girl, cadder girl.
Okay, Miss Sawalha, would you mind sitting down at the back of the class? Would you mind sitting back? Miss Sawalha.
Cadder girl.
Dawn Claricoats. Just because you've got a clever surname, don't think you can be late.
Don't think you can play clever.
Tina Davis.
Tina Davis.
You're supposed to say here. You're supposed to say here. You're doing it. You don't stay with your part. Say here. Hazel Caldera. Say here.
Here.
Oh my God,
no, they're supposed to be
But they
saying
can't
it.
speak.
They're supposed to be typing
You're doing
it.
it for them. Instead of bouncing around jiggling your boobs.
I'm trying to get more active.
Claire Smiley.
Here.
Oh, flipping heck. Do you take direct? Look at my eczema. So
I
bad.
can't see it. Stop talking
is.
about it.
It's awful because I've exerted myself. I've done my gym this morning because I just want a day without thinking about gym. I just want to get on with work. I really
You should
enjoyed.
have a day of rest today.
I really enjoyed editing the Sunday show yesterday. It's a really good
it's
show.
such a good one.
It's a full 90 minutes, full to the brims, just brim of just goodness, like
Did
a
you enjoy-
sausage.
Hope you enjoyed it, guys.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's a great one. Right,
I'm
so
going to shut up now. Look at the title I've given it
what?
of the film.
Oh, 3 Tears of a Clown. Half-term confusion.
No, do you get the references there? 3 Tears of a Clown.
Yeah,
Who's the clown?
the sad clowns.
What's the news flow today?
About the 3 tears.
And who's the clown?
Boris.
Yeah, it's quite clever, isn't it? 3 Tears
it's
of
not
a Clown.
that clever.
Oh, flip it! It is if you get it.
Well, I've got
You
it,
sit
but it's
in-
not that clever. I was looking for something else.
You can't even say here.
I'm not well.
You know what? You can't say hello.
Hello.
Oh Christ! There was some cognitive behaviour going on then. So yeah, it's 3-tier city today.
Why shout?
What tier? Get past your singing, which
not doing
breaks out
anything.
any minute. So anyway, I want to ask everyone, what tier are you in? Do you think you're going to be in? It's like a game of bingo. It's COVID bingo.
Yeah, COVID.
What tier are you in?
He keeps saying, why do they not mention London?
They haven't mentioned
Why
London
do
once.
What tier are we in?
What tier? We're in tier 2. We're going to be in tier 2, which is going to either mean one of two things.
What is- okay, take
Hillary Weeks in tier 3 is the most severe.
Right.
Tier-
Is that like, how different is this from the Nando's chart we had? Are we following the same sort of sense as we did with the Nando's? Do you remember the Nando's
Yeah.
chart? When we had to move up.
It's less
and then-
sophisticated.
Oh, right. We've
the
lessened our sophistication.
The Nando's chart is quite a sophisticated chart, by all
So,
accounts.
so if you are tier 3 now, where would you have been on the Nando's
There's
chart?
no relationship. It's like a different language. It's like centimetres and inches.
Why didn't they just stick with the Nando's
Well, because
chart?
if you put the 5 Nando sections next to the 3 tiers, it's like putting an inch next to centimetres.
Well, that's what I find confusing because we used to have 5 stages and now we've got 3.
But that's for
so I don't know what the worst
Well,
stage
the 5
is.
stages are for the country. The 3 tiers are for regions.
Oh, but we've still got the Nando's chart
There's
nationally.
still and you can still get a free half peri-peri chicken.
Mark.
Yeah, if you.
The thing is, this could be a joke, but actually this is
Tears of
this
a
is
clown.
how we are looking at
So Jan Lovegrove, you're in 3, which is the most severe, which means pubs, clubs, casinos. Shit!
I was just watching
I don't know anyone who
Sky.
goes to casinos.
It's really
do you?
interesting when you hear those numbers again, that the infections are 35 from hospitality, 165 or something from care homes, and 250 from university. So, you know, she kept badgering the culture secretary. Why is it that you keep shutting down hospitality when the biggest increase is in universities? I mean, I do feel for the government. I do feel. He said the science is there. He said, you know, your inside is often not ventilated. You can't wear a mask when you're eating and drinking. People shout and laugh, and the aerosol. But then it's very strange that the evidence isn't there with the infection.
But I keep hearing on the news this morning that the reports coming from America that the hospitality sector, it's rife. It's a breeding ground for this disease.
Yeah.
Which
makes sense.
I mean, it makes total sense.
Sitting listening to the culture secretary, everything he said is like, yeah, totally, 100%.
It's as simple
I mean,
as
I
this.
went to a restaurant the other day.
4 pints of beer. Ah, my friend.
No, but
I
it's
love
not
you.
only that. It's like if
bollocks.
you're inside and the heat and everything. I went to a restaurant the other day, and immediately I walked in, it just felt too hot, so we sat outside. You can just feel how virus would, you know, hang. I mean, on the subject, but of course, the highest rates are still in universities. And he said, you know, she said, you can see why it feels very difficult for these people in the hospitality industry. When they see these numbers, it feels like nobody cares about them. And again, you know, I mean, I can't stand the guy. He just makes me feel a bit weird, but just because he did so.
He's the culture secretary.
But what he was saying is true. He said, you know, it doesn't really harm most people of that age in university. They want to be at university, they want to be learning. We're trying to get a financial package together. It's a bad financial package. I mean, 2/3 of a minimum wage is going to be something like £5 a day for people to live on. But they are between a rock and a hard place because we know that you have a few drinks and everyone starts shouting and hugging and saying, oh, come here, what a terrible time we've all had.
Yeah, exactly. Janet Sharp says COVID loves the cold.
COVID loves the cold. COVID loves socialising. This is why I hate this son of a bitch virus.
I'm going to be counterintuitive for a minute. Maybe COVID just wants friends.
COVID can fuck off.
No, seriously, maybe COVID's like, I'm not bad. I want to meet people and it's cold out here.
No. Sometimes I feel it's like it's so evil, isn't it? It's so evil what it does. It feels sometimes like a living, well, it is a living thing, but...
Well, this is what I was talking to Maddie's boyfriend Patrick about,
awful.
because he's a sort of mathematician and a robotics scientist. And we were talking about the fact that the RNA and the fact that we've talked about this right at the beginning of the virus breaking out. But the RNA, which is like the DNA of a virus, which is the sort of genetic code, if you like, what makes it. And there are for many consistencies across viruses, like there are consistencies in human DNA and what have you. There's 4% of the RNA of this virus they have no knowledge of. And and they wonder whether that accounts for, because some of the symptoms when they land, they're sort of almost not AI in their aspect, but there's something about them that you hear a lot of people describing them as so sudden, so severe, so almost non-human in their sort of change of physiology. God, that's a lot of words.
But you know, you say there's only 4 parts of it that they don't understand. 4% that they don't understand. But actually, I find that quite reassuring, because I always have this sense that there's none of it that they've done.
Well, it's not reassuring when you hear scientists and genetic coders all saying that's the vital 4% we need to know.
But so do they know, so other viruses, do they know the 100% of the virus?
Pretty much, yes, standard.
Ah,
yeah, so
okay.
It's kind of really frustrating and bad and difficult that they don't know what they can't identify it.
Now, we know a little bit of hopeful good news is that...
Oh my God, that was good!
That also... though we know it can mutate in a really negative way, there is every chance that it could mutate in a very positive way and go and actually downgrade to like the common cold. I was reading an article on that.
Could be as quaint as a Beatles song.
Can you imagine that? If it just downgraded to a bloody cold.
Imagine if it downgraded to a Dolly Parton song. Working
9 to 5, working hard to make a living. Here to have. Please, can we get a song sheet so we know some words to something? We're going to do singing. We're going to do a singing night. Crazy if you let it. We're going to do a sing-song night, aren't we?
We're going to do a quiz night again, we've decided.
We've decided we're all a bit pissed off.
Yeah.
It's all been a bit miserable, and what we need to do is do a quiz night. What do you think?
I've just seen lots and lots of people. This is our, what did they used to call it? Tutor group at the beginning of the day. We've taken the register. We're in tutor group. Thank God Dawn Claricoats has finally arrived. Where were you? In the toilet?
Dawn Claricoats.
Probably finishing your homework at the last minute.
What time is Bumbling Boris making the announcement?
Lots of people are asking
3:30.
3 o'clock in the House of Commons, I believe. 3:30 straight afterwards. He might roll over because he is a bit of a bumbler. Now,
there's not going to be a national lockdown. I know some people they've been worrying about that. There is not going to be a national lockdown. That's what the culture.
There's not going to be a national lockdown.
And you know what the culture minister said, secretary said today as well? He said, I don't know where all this stuff is coming from the papers. Nobody has leaked anything to the papers.
Bollocks.
As far as I am aware.
Yeah, absolute bollocks. He just can pretend he knows nothing. He just kind of goes, oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, look, the weird thing is half term is coming and there is confusion. Here's the thing, because obviously we're hopefully doing our second book delivery this week or soon, and a couple online. But we have been aware that this possibility has been coming, actually, that there are going to be, they say there are going to be regional limitations on travel. There might even be some regional limitations on some travel in London. That's what the Times is reporting. So at certain times, so in tier 2, if you're in a tier 2, the suggestion at the moment is that that could include limitations of one household. You can only, no inter-household mixing, or you can only mix with one other household, which would mean that we as a bubble can only mix with your mum's house.
But what about, but your mum's in our bubble?
No, that's what I mean. So us and Nanny Di could mix with one other household, either your mum's household, or we forego your mum's household and then it's, I don't know, Maddie's, but if Patrick was to come, that would be another household. So these are the kind of limitations. They're also talking about limitations of travel. So, for example, if we wanted to travel to Northumberland, we couldn't, because if they go into a tier 3, you can't enter a tier 3.
Enter a tier 3 region.
No, exactly. And if you want to go, and this is what's making half term complicated even for staycations, is that if you travel from one tier into another tier, you can only stay in private accommodation, not hospitality managed kind of
I get
accommodation. That. So there are all sorts of we're going to be poring over the details later. And the added detail that was in the newspapers, on the news last night, is that and this is what makes me mad about this government and the whole management of this is, as soon as you feel you're getting some certainty, they then bring in this other concept, which is, but actually it's to the discretion of every local regional head
last night. That's
it's ludicrous.
It's that just muddled messaging again.
I mean, call me old-fashioned. I don't know what the mayor of Croydon's saying.
No.
Because I don't follow them.
No.
Or whoever it is that says this shit. Do you know what I mean? So you need it from centralised government, because actually regional messaging doesn't get through, doesn't cut through. Little Lee, you're late to tutor group.
Little Lee,
but I'm pleased you made it.
Little Lee, you're late. Welcome to the VIP family guest area. Little Lee.
People are asking, are we doing a live after Boris's announcement? I do wonder whether there should be some kind of chat to see if maybe I should put my microscopic glasses on and try and sort of analyse what it all means.
We'll do it afterwards, definitely, because I know you always do wonder what Mark's thinking.
Well, I think they also wonder what you're feeling.
You are so sweet.
And all of us are wondering, what will she sing?
Tonight I'm doing a live on Instagram, a live cook at 6 o'clock. Please join me. We'd love it. Yeah. It's for a brand that I'm working with, but I'm just going to be cooking. I'm going to be cooking fish.
Me, Nanny Di.
I'm going to be cooking prawns and sea bass.
And straight afterwards, me and Nanny Di and the girls are going to the cinema, because we can't bear it anymore. Just can't bear it anymore.
And my nephew's coming over.
Yeah. So Dawn Claricoats. My stomach is in knots. I get more confused each day. That's because you spent so much time this morning in the toilet finishing your homework, Dawn.
But that stomach and stomach feeling, oh my God, don't worry. You are not alone with that. We are feeling that. I mean, Mark and I try and get a good balance of telling you when we feel bloody shit and terrified, but we don't want to overdo it because we're also aware of how lucky we are and we don't want to look like we're moaning. But believe you me, we do go, you know, everyone has got that knots in stomach feeling. It's so, everything's so uncertain. And then when you get such muddled messaging from your government, it doesn't help.
No.
It doesn't help you think, oh, right, they've got a plan here. I mean, there was somebody talking today on Sky. I've seen him a lot through this pandemic. Don't actually know his name, so I apologise for that.
Fee for Darren boy, well done for arriving on time.
Well done.
Hope you've got your sports kit with you.
And he was getting really irate, and he's usually quite a mild-tempered chap. And he was saying, you know, these, again, like so many people are saying, you know, these lockdowns will not work. They will not work unless you have a plan and a track and trace when you come out, which I've been banging on about the whole time. But actually, he was saying something quite interesting about, he said, right at the beginning, Boris was talking, and I remembered this, about how we were going to get, I don't know how many thousands a day of people tested. And that it was the way out of this puzzle. And that they were going to be buying this rapid test, and they put this order in, but then it all sort of fizzled away because this rapid testing wasn't reliable enough, which is good. I mean, that's quite right. That's what they should have done, because you want reliable testing. Anyway, this chap this morning was saying that there's this new test. It's really affordable. I think he said it's $5. Maybe it's that one I was talking about the other day that they're producing in India. They can produce millions of these bloody things. And he said what you could do is you could get the entire country tested twice a week. They can do it yourselves. And he said countries across the world are buying up these tests. Greece has just made a huge order. And we're not. And we're not. And he said the money that they're spending on these mini lockdowns, which runs into billions, you could spend on this testing. So we would twice a week, everybody across the country would test themselves, and then everyone would know and you would stay in. Sounded like a bloody plan to me.
Yeah.
But I wonder why we're not ordering them.
No.
Should I look them up?
Anastasia Alexander says, viruses mutate to spread and survive better, and being less deadly is better for the virus, so it can spread better when it's hosted
Well, that's what I was wondering. It's not very good to kill people.
Yeah, it's not a very clever virus.
No,
that kills
not in
its
a minute.
host. But by that extension, I suppose, why would any virus ever be fatal? Maybe it's looking for a higher level of host. See what I mean?
See, 15 minutes.
Maybe the reason the virus has passed through Trump so quickly is it considers him to already be
here we
dead.
go. Here we go. Greece purchases 200,000 rapid antigen tests to increase the daily number of testing for coronavirus cases in the country. Oh, so was it an antigen test?
Faith Goodman, I think COVID was man-made in a science lab. Glad some of the other subs agree. It seems like that narrative has sort of fallen by the wayside a bit, hasn't it? The whole sort of Wuhan lab concept.
Well, I suppose we have so much to deal with the fear of this and that we just sort of, I don't know if you do, guys, I sort of park things that we're so powerless over. I think that's just going to drive me crazy thinking about that one. So I'll just.
Would you want a little snapshot of why countries like China are managing the COVID crisis better than us? And this is more about the democracy or the freedoms that we have that we're used to, and what presents actually. That's why there isn't a clear comparison with China or Taiwan or South Korea and the West, because as countries we have a far more, how would you put it politely, self-expressive and free population. We are allowed to do more. We want to be able to do what we want to do as individuals within a democracy. Whereas in those countries, it's not that they don't have any democracy. They do, of course, in South Korea, but they are far more sort of respectful of authority, is a polite way of putting it. They're just more obedient, is the other way of putting it. But in one particular city, it was announced today in China, Qingzhou, I can't pronounce it. So it's a population of 9 million people. 9 million. They've had an outbreak of 12 cases from a hospital. And in the next 2 or 3 days, they're testing all 9 million people. That's comprehensive.
Wow.
Imagine putting that into action where you say, okay, fuck all this tier shit. Everyone in London's getting tested tomorrow.
Yes.
Jesus.
And then we know where we stand.
But that's how.
I mean,
it gives you perspective. That's how they're managing.
Turkey, when it first started, I don't know if any of you watched. It was a really interesting program the other day on Sky with the journalist. What's that woman that you said?
Boris announcement. Katie Travers is around 3, guys. 3.
Around 3. We'll do a live afterwards. Who's that journalist that you said? Oh, she's very strange. And I said, oh no, she's brilliant. That I was watching the other night. That we see her all the time. Not Kate. She's a Kate type.
Oh yes, I know the one you mean. Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know her name.
they were talking in detail about the beginning of lockdown and talking back through over lockdown, and they had both been in other countries and they flew back to cover here. I think one of them had been in Turkey and maybe another one had been in
Shirley
Taiwan.
Lewis.
Welcome Shirley Lewis. Welcome Shirley Lewis. And they were talking about how when they were flown back to cover the pandemic here, we were in lockdown, and because they'd come from Turkey and Taiwan, they were driving through London, and they were like, and that's when London was shut.
That was us at our most stringent.
At our most stringent. And they were thinking like, oh, we're not in lockdown.
Right.
Because there were people everywhere. Right. Because in the countries where there was real lockdown, there was nobody out. Like Italy, like everywhere. There wasn't a bit here. There was always people everywhere.
Do you remember when I was in central London, I was moved on by the police?
You were, yeah.
I mean,
but
there
parks
was a
were
point.
heaving.
But there was a point where central London felt like a police state. I mean, you didn't go in there. I did with the girls. We went in and photographed.
That was in my I'm too scared to go anywhere phase.
It was a chilling moment that I will never, ever forget. It was quite something. Over 1 million have been tested in New Zealand out of 5 million people. Wow, so a fifth of the population. That's quite something. Laura Cameron, Mark just sent you a message on Instagram. If it's a DM, I may well not get it. Thousands come in, so they disappear. I don't know what the best bet. I don't know what your best bet is. I'll try and find it, but I can't guarantee it will come through.
It's Rebecca's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rebecca. Happy birthday to you.
Now, in terms of other news, so half-term confusion. I mean, I am not, again, you know, I get that people are thinking they want to live their lives normally and they want a little bit of fun and da-da-da-da-da. I also get that perhaps we're all a little bit worried that things are going to get worse before they get better because of coldness and us all staying in and it's Christmas time and all of that sort of stuff. I mean, Christmas is only, what is it? It's about 2 months away, isn't it? Less than 2 months away. So in terms of the news flow today, most of the news is gobbling up the to-be-announced tier system that's coming through. We've also got on the back burner, just if you, I haven't even bothered to go to it.
No deal Brexit.
No deal Brexit, France digging in over fishing rights.
For no deal Brexit, now don't get us wrong, we want Trump out so badly. But if Biden gets in, we are in trouble because we might not get a deal with America.
Yeah.
So Brexit is literally going to stitch us up like a kipper now.
Now, there was a story that broke last night about, is this a UFO over Scotland? A photograph taken in 1990. Nadia always sighs and looks skyward at this. But please go and look at this story in The Sun. The headline of it is, Government Bans Release of Secret UFO Dossier for Another 50 Years, Leaving Experts Furious. And there is an image that everyone's claiming is authentic that looks quite remarkable.
It just does look like something out of Star Trek.
It does look like something out of Star Trek, and there's a jet alongside it and what have you. But there's the suggestion that there's a massive cover-up and they're trying to insist that all sorts of research and proof that there was a sort of UFO spotted in 1990 above Scotland. They're declassifying the information for yet another 50 years. And the reason they're saying for that is that then the 2 climbers who took the photographs will be dead. So they won't be able to actually...
It does seem a bit outrageous.
Why would you...
Actually.
Yeah,
I mean, I do find it hard to get excited about
I never
UFOs,
understand, but I never understand why there's such a... If it happened, why would they want to be a massive cover-up? Would everyone go batshit crazy and panic?
Yeah, because they're worried about panic, but, you know... Yeah, that would be why.
I think it's more. Oh, look, here we go. Coronavirus COVID, 20 minutes ago. COVID-19 survivors may have protective antibodies for up to 4 months. That's not a lot, is it? Is that all? People who recover from COVID-19 may have protective antibodies for up to 4 months, according to a new study. Researchers at Harvard and Massachusetts aim to determine how long immunity lasts and whether those infected with COVID will develop lasting protection.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They're saying it's lasting 4 months. Now that could... Does anyone here have any experience of someone getting it twice? Does anyone...
No, they're still saying it's very rare because people might claim they have, but they said you have to do proper double testing. You have to, because a lot of people that think they've got it twice didn't actually have a positive test. So it's just all hearsay. But
That's a good question. If that's the case, as Rachel Sayers says, can you therefore get immunity from a vaccine? If you can only get 4 months immunity from the actual disease? Because presumably a vaccine is all about giving you a bit of the disease, isn't it? Bloody good question, Rachel says. Rachel says, can you stay behind at the end of class? I want to give you a star on your work. What do you think? That seems to have thrown you into a tailspin.
Because it's just not good news, is that? That's not good news. That's very scary news if antibodies are only lasting 4 months.
Well, no, but I think that's a really interesting... I hadn't even thought of it from that perspective, that if there's any sort of... if there's no long-termism to any kind of naturally formed immunity or antibody, that's going to have huge implications for a vaccine.
Why?
Well, because they can't... The very concept of a vaccine...
No, because you're talking about natural immunity. A vaccine isn't natural immunity.
Oh, I see.
It's
So
lab-made.
So you're saying that what they make is a sort of souped-up, even stronger version?
Well, I don't mean...
God almighty.
Jesus Christ.
You know what? Can I just say, the idea of being abducted by a UFO has never been more attractive. I wish I was on that craggy mountain in Scotland seeing that, and I'd have waved at them and I'd said, take me, please. Inspect my brain. You won't like what's in there, but inspect it. You know what I mean? Has anyone else noticed I'm trying to read your comments without my glasses on? And I'm kind of succeeding.
Ellen Jones, the memory cells might well remember the virus, but you cannot detect them in a blood test.
What does that mean?
Explain more,
What does that mean, Ellen Jones?
Does that mean that you might have immunity that isn't picked up in a blood test?
Henrietta Henson, it mutates, it will be one step ahead. It's a bit like a sci-fi. It's a bit like a sci-fi virus, isn't it? It really is.
Carla Martin wants your brain, Mark.
Do you? You can have it. Faith Goodman, what's happened to the Johnny Depp court case? It's been postponed. You're right, it was supposed to happen in September, but I think also because of his work, I think so many things, I just think everything's being postponed. I think the idea that just normal business is going to return to anything is just madness, unfortunately. It's all batshit crazy. And if you think about it, Emily, that phrase couldn't be more apt, given that this probably originated from batshit.
What they've got to do, somebody there said spend more time looking at T cells. The thing is, there are plenty of people that don't catch this. Like, we know a number of people that have had it tested positive and been ill and then been in a house with plenty of other people, and those other people haven't got it. So they've got some other kind of immunity, which they think... Do you remember some scientists have been talking about, you've got a different coronavirus.
That's good news, Becky.
You've got T cells, you've got immunity that you've gathered from a different coronavirus that wouldn't show up as an antigen from, as a COVID-19 antigen. So somebody was just saying there, they need to... Well, we don't know how much they're looking into those T cells, but every time I feel a bit bad, I think, or too worried, I think of Sweden and I think of T cells.
Sweden is always a great feeling. You say Sweden.
T cells.
We cradle each other at night saying Sweden.
T cells.
Early
coronavirus.
I'm encouraged by the early reports from the research they're doing. I think, is it in Massachusetts, where they've injected a goldfish with the COVID vaccine, with the COVID vaccine, and it's now swimming with sharks.
He's an absolute idiot.
I don't know what it means for COVID.
Sweden!
We cradle each other at night and we speak Swedish.
What are T cells? Somebody's just said that. I don't actually know.
You say them all the time. You say it all the time.
The bad T cells and the good T cells. It must be something, it's something to do with our immunity.
Tom Parker news? What's happened with Tom Parker?
Who's Tom Parker?
Colonel Tom Parker. No, don't say...
Oh, not our Colonel. Oh, no.
Who's Tom Parker?
Well, I thought you were talking about actors. I didn't think you meant the...
Is it?
See, look, there's an actor, Tom Parker.
Oh, right.
That's the first person that came up when you put Tom Parker.
Oh, I thought you meant...
Do you mean Colonel Tom Parker?
Do you mean Tom Parker? Oh, I don't know what's going on with Tom Parker. He's from The Wanted. Oh, have a cup of tea, Sue Johns. No, the guy in The Wanted. What's happened to him? What's happened to him? Do we know? Sadiq Khan. Just having a quick look through other trending stories at the moment. Just trying to see if there's. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Diagnosed. Oh
no.
Oh God, poor thing.
Oh,
So sorry, just to explain, the wanted Tom Parker has been diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumour,
Jesus Christ.
age 32. Jesus
dear
Christ.
God.
Oh dear. That is
I
sad.
used to love The Wanted.
That is sad.
I remember years ago being in some bar with all of them, having a drink with them. I can't remember why. Those were the days.
Look at that. Dawn French says racism towards her ex, Lenny Henry, was so bad that the police had to live in their house.
No.
Wow. Dawn French recalled the racist abuse her ex-husband Lenny Henry was subject to while they were married. Wow. The length they had to go to. For a while, we had the police living inside our home, and some people had scratched really racist slogans on every panel on 2 cars outside our home. I always think that, you know, Lenny Henry's been there from the get-go.
Yeah.
I always think the level, and we worked with him. We shot a show with him once, and he was ever so sweet. No, he's gone through. You know, he must have a hide made of,
Yeah.
you know,
He's gone through a lot.
Teflon.
They had a lot about being in a mixed
Yeah.
race marriage, didn't they?
Yeah. So there we go, guys. So we will be back with you at some point later today once Boris has uttered those funny words. The tears of a clown. The tears of a clown.
Do you know what? I've got to run. I'm so done for the loo.
Oh, okay.
I love you. See you after the Boris thing, and then again at 6 on Instagram.
Should we stay running so we can hear what happens?
No.
Anyway, guys, have a lovely, lovely morning. Stay safe. Don't fret. And remember, guys, can you make it on time to tomorrow's tutor group, please? Yeah? No staying in the toilets and finishing your homework there, Miss Claricoats. Final warning. Final warning.